because I would even ask, when I say DJ, what do you think of? And they go, I don't know, like a radio station, like, you know, or they think, oh, okay, like two turntables and a microphone. Yeah. I'm like, oh, Beck, okay, where it's at, I get it. You know, there's always some kind of little joke with it, but I get frustrated, not frustrated, but like if I look at a room that's like somebody put a lot of time and effort into, and somebody here you go. It's like ordering filet mignon and them giving you a plastic fork.
I done been through so much shit you couldn't fantasize it. Trying to speak on what I lost, but I could never find it. I'm sorry if I get that love that
Welcome
I can't
back to
recognize.
Opinionated, the podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Hicks, and alongside me, as always, my brother from another mother, Ree Washington. And today, we are shooting from Society, located in Kansas City, but we got no other than the legend himself.
I don't know about that.
DJ Ashton Martin. How you doing?
Hello,
today?
I'm great, man. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Good, man. It's been a pleasure. I mean, I've been hearing so much about you, and I told you off set, I was like, I thought you was a black man. That's one of the coolest names I have ever seen and heard. But tell us a little bit of how you got into DJing.
Well, I have to backtrack because my best part was what you said that, and I was like, wait, no, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm from a small town. It would have been like my favorite joke, and it gets old, but I'll say it. It's like I'd been like John Deere, like, you know, a little tractor, you know, something like that. No, and just for the record, my middle name is DJ David Joseph. So my full name, Ashton David Joseph Martin.
Kind of goes.
Like I said, I've saying I've won some money with that. Venmo made it way easier. I'm like, pull your Venmo out.
Hey, you were set up for greatness with that name.
Pull out my ID. You pull out your Venmo. We'll make a deal.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. So how to get into DJing? So let's see how far back we want to go. I can make this quick. I mentioned a small little town. My grandma owned a little bar and grill. I noticed right off the bat, I mean little bar and grill, like, you know, hamburgers, quarter draws, like super cheap, small town. She'd have bands. She had a jukebox. Well, guess who was stealing quarters out of the you know, register to play music? That'd be me. So early on, I didn't know this, and I had to think back later on in life. Or I had to think back, like, where'd I get influence? And it would be there. It was a lot of Southern rock, classic rock, country, what you'd expect in a rural town. Yeah. Although the band did play Clarence Carter's Strokin', and that was like a staple. And that was like my first influence on, what is this? This is amazing. So, yeah. So anyway, what else did I do? Okay, so I went to Burlington to high school. You know, kind of always had, I was the guy that always had, everybody had the guy that had the CD and the mixtapes. That was me. Went on to KU. Again, I knew I could hear music, and I wanted to piece it together, but I didn't, what was I going to do? You know, I even grew up with a record player in 33s, but it was don't scratch those, dad gets mad. So that was kind of then. So I didn't really know how to mix it. So this guy above me is named F.A. Ekper, good buddy of mine from college, and he used Fruity Loops, so we mixed some stuff together, and I think we burnt that CD into the ground, giving it to DJs around Lawrence. So, okay, so now I knew how to put stuff together. Okay, cool. So then I hear these guys play with records. It was DJ Beastie, DJ Archie. Was actually who taught me originally and influenced me. Heard them playing at a party, and I saw them with a computer with turntables, and I was like, what? And then that was Serato. What I was seeing live is Serato. Way stable, more stable now than it was then, for sure. We all use PCs then, which weird. So they taught me. Well, at the bar I was managing at the time, they came in to play there, and then I would open for them after a long time of them yelling and saying I suck, and then I'd get kicked off. I would go back and bartend, and they would close the night. So then I started getting asked to play other gigs, like for birthdays and stuff, and it kind of went from there. 07, I moved to Kansas City, obviously with cutbacks. Well, the economy wasn't doing that great. Yeah, it was right there. Well, I was actually Air Force for 4 years, and I've been a pilot since I started flying when I was 14.
Man, so you're a pilot and a DJ.
Yeah, so the idea was to be, DJing wasn't even going to be there. It was just, I was going to do 4 years, second lieutenant, fly C-130s, retire, corporate pilot. That was like my fast track. That's what I want to do. Hard left. So anyway, they made cutbacks, offered me a stipend to leave. I rolled, stayed another year, added another degree. So I have exercise science psychology from KU. Then I moved to Kansas City, tried to use those degrees to get a job. Obviously, it was just a bunch of Cutco knives and a lot of random things. So I don't mind hustling, but I was like, I'll just bartend again. DJ called in. It was at the Legends place called Banana Joe's, right next to Saddle Ranch back in the day. Way different thing out there now. But So I started playing there that night because the DJ just happened to call in, and then I went to Saints in Lenexa. I don't know what it is now. It's right next to, it was old Mickey's Irish Pub. And then I went to Raoul's, Velvet Room at 119th Street. Sean McClinney gave me my first opportunity on a Friday. And then when I really picked up steam in Kansas City is when my good friend Leo Prieto asked me to do a happy hour with him at a place called Reverse, which was Colvines after, then it was Parkway, which Parkway obviously had Scarlet Room underneath it. And where are we filming and shooting right now? Full circle, Scarlet. So it kind of worked out.
It was meant to be.
Yeah, so here we are. So Reverse really kind of propelled me. And then I had Soul Cantina, and then where Brick House was a place called Velvet Dog. Sorry, Velvet Dog. Foggy Dog's Lawrence. Velvet Dog. I worked for a guy named Chris Seffrin there. So all these places I was rotating around is kind of how it all came to be. And then I just hustled. Like, I don't really, a lot of younger DJs ask me how I got my name out, because all they're seeing is now. Yeah. And all I can tell them is, look, I know you want to play Aura. I know you want to play P&L Live Stage. I know you want to play Scarlet, Society, Fall, Ale, Rooftop. I know you want to do that. But, like, it's old school, and probably me being 37 is showing, but like coming up how I did was just you hustle and grind until somebody recognizes it. And you don't really do it to get recognized. You just do it because you love music and you're building these nights, and indirectly you're building a following. And then you learn that, and then you start going to places, you know, it all like kind of snowballs. Yeah. That's hard to teach now because everybody wants it now. Because everybody wants it now. Yeah, and I'm like, you know what I mean? Everybody wants it now. Everybody wants it now. And I give opportunities. You can ask Donna, and I want zero credit for this. I just, Donna, I'll use Donna as an example. She went by DJ, it's DJ Donna Conkle, and she's awesome. And here's why. She, for 4 or 5 years, she used to work for 93.3, I think. For years, she saw me, couldn't come up and talk to me, which made me feel super bad later. Well, I was at American Heart Association, Spin for a Cure, a main stage Power and Light, maybe 5 years ago. Don't quote me on that. She just standing at the end, real patient, and I kind of started standing there, and I'm like, she's at the stage, and I'm like, walk over to her, talk to her. She goes, hey, I want to DJ. I'm serious about it, da-da-da. I'm like, cool. She comes over to my house. I set up my 2 trash cans, like in the garage. It was a nice day. I set up a speaker because I just didn't want to be loud in the house, and we started going back and forth. Since then, she opened for me last week at Aura. So that's somebody that truly wanted to be better, spent the time to do it. There's another one, Code P. Code P over quarantine did nothing but learn how to better himself at playing hip hop. He was a house guy. So everybody, like, I reward people that want to do that. I'm not going to hand it out, but I'm in the business of booking and making sure the venue is taken care of and has the best fit suited DJ for that venue, for that time, for that format, for whatever it may be. Yeah. And I also, for instance, tonight I'm at Ale House, Sink, one of my best friends, Joseph, hungry little 23-year-old, I think. I always call him like 19 because he was 19 when I met him. But he's busted his ass, and now I'm going to have him open for me tonight, probably have him close. So, like, I like to put people in positions to win and elevate because it just isn't, I feel like DJing when I came to Kansas City was very much, and it's the time and the changes and the era of when it was, is I'm Ashton. These are my gigs. Draw lines in the sand. Yeah.
And I got a question to ask you.
I don't like that. No, you do your thing. I'll just keep talking.
Because what I understand and what you were saying is you started DJing in the early 2000s, and me and Ree, we were kids at that point in time. And what we remember is the mixtapes and the hustle and the grinding. I remember I grew up in Miami, Florida.
So you remember those?
Yeah, I remember when
the trunk of that car.
Yeah, when Pitbull, when he first came out, Pitbull was on South Dixie Highway passing out his CDs, and we were like, Pitbull, man, who is this? Who is this guy?
I remember the first time I heard
Drake's name. He just blew up, and it was like, wow, man. Like, my mom had his CD, his first CD for years before she finally threw it out. But she was like, I never would have thought that was that guy. Now, coming back full circle to these kids of this generation, now they have social media, so of course
they get it twisted.
Yeah, I think. Like they can go viral really quick, and they don't understand the work that has to keep going into it for you to keep growing as a DJ.
You can get that viral, but like you can get it, and you can run and you can be popular. But how many people go viral and then you hear about them in a week?
Exactly.
2 weeks, 3 weeks.
So how do you keep your young ones in line? I won't say in line, but you keeping them hungry to keep bettering themselves.
I would like to spin this just because we talked before. I think when it comes to you you said that you do the things that most DJs don't, or the most
It's not necessarily they
that,
don't, or
they
maybe they just don't want to do. There's a lot, and I respect it. Like there's a lot of DJs off that, not to cut you off, but like off that, a lot of DJs want to show up and they want to play, and they want to get paid and they want to leave.
Right.
I respect that. The first thing I do when I meet a new DJ is somebody hits me up, DMs me, and we have a group message and a group chat for like KC DJs to help each other out. Sometimes it's a lot more. It's funny stuff in there. And then the other side would be just I have the Ale Fall Scarlet Society DJs, just so I can fire in there real quick. And if somebody has an Android, which they do, Facebook group message, so like, well, they won't get it. And I'm like, okay, we'll do Facebook Messenger. It's not necessarily that they don't want to do it. Just, there's a lot of them. They were talking about, on the way down here, it was a screenshot from one of the DJs that said, hey, it was just a DM from some other DJ going, hey, can I open for you? Like, you just fire that at somebody, not, hey, how are you, da-da-da. Mm-hmm. And this is where it gets kind of weird. Like, I've heard people say, well, I'm not going to come out to gigs and kiss ass just so I'm kissing out somebody's ass just so I get a gig. It's not called kissing ass. It's called networking. Mm-hmm. Coming out and shaking somebody's hand and saying, like, this place is amazing, come over, hey, what's up? I don't need you to come introduce yourself to me or talk to me. Actually, I'm working, so I'd rather you not. Let's set up a time. But just to fire out, and like you said, it goes quick. Like, they don't know. So the first thing I do to come back around, when a DJ hits me up or somebody puts me in touch with him, like, say you got a guy coming up and I'm going to go to lunch with him. Typically, Kona's where it is. I don't know why. It just happens to be that way. But I go to lunch and I say, what are your goals? What do you want to play? What do you want to do? And most of the time they don't know. And I'm like, well, you want to open for me at Aura, which is like you kind of know what you're doing there. And everywhere, I mean, around the city, everything's kind of elevated. There's a certain thing that you got to bring. So what would you like to do? And how can I help?
I was just about to ask you.
And I say, how can I help? And I give them the tools.
But how do you find yourself constantly evolving as a DJ? Because music changes every 2 years, actually every 6 months, it seems like.
So like, how do I evolve? Okay, so I'll tell you what happens to DJs that don't evolve. They don't go anywhere and they don't play anymore. Because and you can just look at that. I'm really big into the history of like, not history in general. I kind of like it, but it's kind of rammed down my throat in school. But I go back and find the stuff I like. But as far as like in Kansas City, watching nightlife, watching DJs, what we traditionally were as a DJ 10 years ago is not what we are now. Sure, they ask more of us, promote, da-da-da-da. Yeah, why don't you work for the job you want, not the one you have? If you want paid $1,000 a gig, give me something to sell you at. Get people hit me up and say, what's your rate? Well, it's this. I'm like, you got to give me something to sell. I got to sit in front of an ownership group and say, well, this person, they want to know why we paid this person sometimes this or that. They don't really, but like, I got to be prepared to be like, this is justified if they ever were to ask me that. So like, that goes back to best room for the job. But you ask, how do I stay on top? Be surrounding myself with younger DJs, or not on top, but like on top of my game with like,
stay sharp.
Yeah, staying sharp with me. And I can't know everything. I have no problem looking at a 23-year-old like DJ or 22-year-old DJ and being like, dude, what do you guys like listening to right now? And I'm like, what is that? Or, hey, that's cool. I heard that. I listen to them play. And then maybe I can use something out of my set. That's what we're all doing here. We're sharing the same music. We have access to the same things. So for the most part, but I would say that's how I would stay on top of my game personally, would be always stay open-minded. And I'll go to lunch and entertain any lunch there is. Any DJ, like, I will. I'm not saying it on here. Like, I'm kind of busy. But, no, I will. I'm not just going to shut somebody out. I think that's a common misconception. Like, oh, Ashton books or something. No, it ain't like that. In fact, everybody needs more DJs that can do a great job. Like, they do. I think that's a national thing. It's not like a national shortage of DJs because there's a ton of them. But I think there's a shortage of ones that maybe
are committed
on the professional side and committed and like really finding out what it takes is always the scariest thing, because I can watch it happen. I'm like, you sure you want to go down this road? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, cool. And then I'll take some of them with me on a day I do 5 shows and sleep 2 hours and get up and fly out at 5:40. And I'm like, really want to do that?
I got a question for you on the realm outside of DJ. Who is Ashton Martin, right? How do you decompress? How do you just enjoy your alone time away from DJing? Who is Ashton Martin?
I've lost him quite a few times, if I'm honest, across the years. It was a constant battle because you do, and especially it's my name. You know, I'm not DJ whatever, Butterfly over here, whatever, you know. That'd be a sweet name, though. But to stay, that's your name? You going to do a guest spot at the pool party?
I might. With a whole banner.
No, so if I'm being honest, my 20s were wild, like they were. And building my name turned into, you know, being the party boy and the party starter. Mm-hmm. And that becomes who you are. And then you're sitting there on Monday, and everybody's been there. You know, you spent the money on the shots, you spent the bottle, you spent this, you've done that. People came under your name, you've done all this. And then you have nothing to show for it on Monday. So you start finding more things with substance. And it's true, the older you get, the smaller your circle gets. Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad thing. It sounds arrogant maybe or selfish, but it's not. It's like you have to, you have to remember who you are. And I have to remember, you know, the little boy that came from Westphalia.
Yeah.
I do. I have to remember just like a lot of the root stuff for me. Like I have to remember the struggle, because only thing I feel like people see now is me on these big ass, like they're not big ass stage, but like Omaha's a pretty big stage. That's like my favorite show. You were asking me earlier.
Yeah.
That's like 15,000 people, and you're just like throwing a party. Like it's crazy. That's one of my top 5. Yeah, you have to stay grounded. I mean, there's a ton of vices just delivered to you, like on a silver platter all the time. Trying to stay clean, and like we're all human. Like, I mean, I think that's the biggest struggle for any entertainer, because you're running long hours. You don't know where you're at. You know where you are, but like June, I traveled every single Saturday, and I was back here on Sunday playing at noon. So whether I was going to St. Louis or back, and that's not even like, what's Aoki do? What's he start in France and like end up in Vegas and close there? Like, it's wild. Like it's. I'm not comparing the two, but you will lose track. I mean, we all have our regrets. I can remember telling my grandma, I can't make it back to Thanksgiving, and then, you know, they pass away, and you're like, cool, I really wish that fucking gig was worth it. Can we cuss on here? Sorry.
No, you
can.
I was like, it's like my favorite word.
So how has, not to cut you off.
No, you're good, man.
You know,
I would say to summarize that, any young kid, I mean, I'm a hard learner, and I'm type A. So like I can sit back and tell people, okay, this is what's coming, man. This is what you're falling into.
Right.
You're just going to learn it, or you're not. You're going to figure it out on your own. You're going to fall on your face. Like, I've had car wrecks. I've about died. This is not bragging. This is, you're talking about the scars on my head. Like, I've definitely put my family through way more, so you have to, than I should have ever. You just don't, the nightlife, sorry to get grim, but like, they will eat you alive, and it doesn't care on Monday who you are. It does not give a shit. Like, and it doesn't matter, because I know that life goes on. If I died tomorrow, I'd rather not. But the Kansas City nightlife goes on. Like, once you start thinking, like, you start getting sucked in, and it's like you got to step back and go, okay.
You could really lose yourself.
You got to, like, and you see it all the time, and it's sad. But people will come out of it. You know, like the people you're like, they'll come up to me, man, I haven't been out in like 5 years. And I'm like, bro, it's fine. Like, you've been raising a family. It's cool, dude. You haven't missed much. Look, it's all the same. Kind of, you know,
so
different people,
DJing.
different places. Still here, and then I check myself. I'm like, shit, you've been going 5 years, and I'm still playing. Okay, cool.
All right. Speaking of family,
what's up?
I know recently you had a daughter.
I did. I was gonna come full circle on that. Yeah. So now you got Monroe, Ashton, Stephen Martin. With her coming into my life, it's been. Everybody's always asked, like, how's it changed? How's it not? Well, you know, the normal schedule would be she goes to daycare every day until 5, so I can get most of my stuff done. Ashley takes her on Thursday so she can be with her mom, her grandma, or Grandma Terry, and then she'll be with her on Thursday. And then like this weekend, she's gone through Sunday because she knows I work the whole time, and we have family in town from Seattle that are still in town from the baptism last Sunday. So my weeks are, I mean, priorities has changed. Like, I just didn't realize how much bullshit busy work I did, because I'm, again, type A and just have to be doing something all the time, or I freak out. And I didn't realize how many tasks I created to stay busy until I had her, and then like a third of my tasks were just bullshit. I was like, I don't need to do that. I don't need to wash my truck for the 3rd time this week. It's okay. I can handle it.
Said for the 3rd.
Yeah, for the 5th time. Hey, it's all you can do for like $18. Shout out Rainbow Car Wash. It's like the best place. Just saying. That's a good deal. But no, so I didn't know I could love, and I don't mean thing, but like love any one or person or one single thing until I don't know. It's the wildest thing. I don't know if you two have kids, but it's legitimately.
We hear about it.
It's. I mean, you can hear about it all you want, and I don't mean this like negative or whatever, but it's just the wildest thing. Like, she just I don't know. Now she'll recognize you. She's mannerisms and like she's her little attitudes. Our swim class, I went to see her IG in her swim class, but dude, I didn't know coming back from where I'm from, you just swim in a pond and figure it out, or you don't. Yeah, I didn't know you started swim lessons at 2 months old in the city. So here we are over at Imler's, bailing off, going underwater, holding our breath for 4 seconds, and I'm like, am I drowning my kid? Like,
yeah.
But you know, you read the stats. It's like, oh, if your kid takes this class, they're 90% less likely to drown. I'm like, done. Just summarize that. Like, I mean, I still don't have words for it. I've never cared about getting up at 6 o'clock in my life since she was born. She's just like, she's so happy and smiley all the time, and I don't know, now she's found my face, and like she likes to do this licking thing where like she suction cups all over my face, and I'm like, she's at a church and everybody's laughing. I'm like, oh, she's just sweet. It's fun. I totally get what my mom always meant. Wait till you have kids. I'm like, she's like, now you get it. I'm like, yep, sure do. So.
And I want to switch lanes a little bit
Go ahead.
and give you a fun question.
You want to talk about deli?
We can talk about Arby's. We got the meats, but
I am kind of hungry now.
Shameless plug.
Hungry all the time.
No, I wanted to ask you. Okay, you get to choose 5 guests, dead or alive. You get to DJ at a party for them, your event. Who are you choosing?
5 guests, dead or alive? Mike Tyson right out of the gate.
Right.
5. It's gonna be all dudes. We're just
Hey, that's fine.
Because I don't even think like that with like girl. I don't give a shit about the girls.
Party, yeah.
It'd be Johnny Cash, Mike Tyson. Oh man, this is gonna shape up into some crazy shit.
I don't know if you know about Johnny Cash, but that's a wild man right there. Okay.
That's some original gangster shit. Like that's like back when he was like, you could really do some shit. Like it's you get kind of caught now. You know, forensics. And shit. Yeah. Hell, even my grandpa's stories. I'm like, I'm glad they didn't have like real cops where you grew up.
So you got 3 more.
So I got Johnny Cash
and Mike Tyson.
I feel like Van Damme would fit in there pretty well. I mean, come on, dude. I'm 37. What do you think I grew up watching?
I like Van Damme's movies.
And you put me on the spot, so this is gonna be the best answers ever. So I got 3 dudes that just want to fight, which is good. That's something will come of that. Tyson will probably just kill him.
Well, I feel like you're gonna say Dennis Rodman or somebody.
No, I mean, God, 2 more. I don't know, dead or alive. That's what. I don't know. I feel like. Just because I get to talk to him, probably throw a Denzel, or not a Denzel, but Morgan Freeman in there, just because he's gonna put like some, like he's gonna put the, he's gonna be the, like he's gonna have to like talk to them and be like, listen guys, you don't need to fight every single moment. So I feel like he's like the
balance,
the balance. He's the yang to all the yin, I guess. I don't know, whatever way it goes. 5th, I don't know. You gotta throw a girl in there. Actually, we'd be like a Marilyn Monroe. Just throw her in there too. So you got like classy or whatever you want to call her, classic Marilyn Monroe with Mike Tyson.
Yeah, you got.
Oh, that's really random. That's it. You got me on that. That was good. That's kind of a wild part. I wasn't going for the party. I didn't even care what I was playing. I personally, when you asked that, was thinking, how funny of a group can I put together and just make them talk? Yeah. So I'm thinking about Mike Tyson trying to talk to Marilyn Monroe. That's what I'm feeling. And Morgan Freeman sitting there going, what?
What's going on right here?
What? He's narrated, you know he is.
I've been to a lot of parties in my life, Ree has as well, weddings and all that. What is the one national anthem song that you could play, and no matter where you play it at, it's going to get the party started?
They always know it.
No matter what?
Yeah. Doesn't matter what type of group of people you have in there. It's just you play this one song and the party is.
It's like torn between 3. I would say like if you just cold drop Next Episode or Nothing But a G Thing, that always bangs. Like because everybody knows it. Depending on your crowd, you have to like maybe it sticks and you have to get out of it quick, or it sticks and you stay, or you have to be like, okay, that was a good curveball, bail. I don't know.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre.
I feel like you cold drop any Snoop Dre or any Tupac or any 90s hip hop. I feel like you're fine. California Love. I mean, I mean, I don't know. What would be the most? I'm trying to think. What would your guys' be? I don't think current when I think that, because I think about standing on like a big stage with like anybody from my mom.
I get it.
I mean, I would. What I really want to say is the opening riff of "Sweet Child of Mine," Guns N' Roses. Like you put that in any room, and people like lose it. But if I'm sitting in society, I'm not going to do that. So I'd say like a down the middle of the map would probably be like a.
I think there's like 3 for
get
us,
like
though.
get.
I mean, it depends on what type of music.
I would say Get Low, Yin Yang Twins. Like that's boom, boom, boom. Everybody's.
I don't have no like specific, but I feel like me in general, like if I go and you start playing some old hip hop, old R&B, I'm
this shit
already
actually
kind of going to it. I'm like, ooh, I like. It be them songs you like, man, I haven't heard this in years. So I
that's my whole goal.
Like is early 2000s rap for us because we are in our 20s. Like
slow motion, like that'll still. Yeah, that'll always stop because I don't play any intro. I just original version right out of the gate. That I would say. I don't know, like, I do like curveballing into, like, because you get to going as a DJ and you're getting the energy going, like, oh, yeah, and then you stop and you're like, no, wait a minute. What if we, like, take the R&B route? And then you just see where they're at and you drop, like, a slow motion or something like that. And they're like, or 504 Boys, you know, I can tell, or some shit like that, some sing-along.
I know this is a random question, but since a lot of the music sounds the same now, does it make it even a little tougher, harder?
It's not harder, it's just, you know, I get excited. I may not favor the music. And some people are like, I ain't playing nothing I don't like. I'm like, damn, okay. Well, I'll play things I don't particularly like drive around in my truck and listen to.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I can see why people like certain songs.
Right.
And I look at it and I'm like, okay, how can I fit this into my set? How can I set this up to get the most out of this track? You know, like how can I take this track and make it even go harder? Okay, well, that's where the word plays come in or this or that. You're saying they kind of sound the same. That is kind of true. I would say that's where the technical side comes in. Are you cutting in the intro? That's where you know, and then you like maybe echo a word and then word play it into this versus just, you know, mixing straight through like zany bars, Masco,
And I wanted to ask you about that too, about certain DJs, because everybody loves to call themselves a DJ, but you can see when there's a DJ who's actually mixing and cutting, and a guy who just has a playlist. And it's just,
I mean, for me, DJ, to me, when you say DJ, I mean, 6 things pop up. It could be me sitting here with an iPad.
Yeah.
With a mixer and a K-sub and a K10 sitting here playing music, and that could be getting the job done for what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think there's a ton of DJs for all walks of life. I think, you know, my family, when I first said DJ, my great-great-grandparents thought immediately radio. So they thought me with this kind of mic sitting in a radio deal with the board.
Yeah, they were like, okay, that's
old school, like whatever the visual was for them when you say DJ. Because I would even ask, when I say DJ, what do you think of? And they go, I don't know, like a radio station, like, you know, or they think, oh, okay, like 2 turntables and a microphone. Yeah. I'm like, oh, Beck, okay, where it's at. I get it. You know, there's always some kind of little joke with it. But I get frustrated, not frustrated, but like if I look at a room that's like somebody put a lot of time and effort into and somebody here you go. It's like ordering filet mignon and them giving you a plastic fork.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so like, if I walk in and I buy a $1,000 bottle over here, it's my girl's birthday, whoever's birthday, I don't give a shit. Bought a $1,000 table, bought a $200 table, just paid $20 cover. There is an expectation that comes with that. Somebody had to park, get ready at their house, eat dinner. They're probably already into their night $200-300 before they even get here, or maybe they ate dinner here. Now they're already in at $200-300 anyway, or whatever the hell it is. We as entertainers owe it to them every show. They don't care your head hurts. They don't care you were out late. They don't care you didn't sleep. They don't care that your kid beat on your face before you woke up this morning. They don't care you have bills due. They have all that shit too. They're here to let go and celebrate something and or just be out and just blow off steam from a week of work. Or maybe they're just out for no reason at all. I take this under my own responsibility, and other DJs can do what they want, but from my perspective is, I've went out, I've got ready, I've spent the money, I know what it's like. When you have all that involved with it, or that all taken into it and all that put into it, I feel like you should get a show for that. If you're drinking a $12 drink, you should be getting a show. So give them a show. Now, what that show entails, Scarlet Room's a little more, you know, lo-fi, hip-hop, chill, more housey vibes, little lower music. Maybe you're not up there, you know, triple click flaring, going ballistic, fucking hands up, like you're not gonna be doing that in here. But you go over to Society side, and we're about 11:30 for about an hour and a half for the last thing of the night. We're going to throw a party. So that's a little different thing. So the same DJ with different skill sets could play differently. Like I'd play differently in here than I would in there versus Aura or Ale or something like that. So I think to answer your question, I'm kind of all over, but I think there's a specific DJ that can do the job. I think it's just whatever the whatever the needs are. Like I have seen people kill it with iPod mixers, and the place was losing their mind, but they knew how to use their equipment well. If you know how to use their equipment well, I can't say much. Like I'm not going to judge a DJ because they're using a controller. I have one. I just recently got one a couple years ago, but it is make a lot of sense when it's 105 degrees at Sporting KC and the sun's beating me in the face to not set up vinyl to just pull out a controller. I know there's a lot of like purists out there that are like, well, if you're not using records, you lost the art and all this. I can still mix records. I can still mix without waveforms. I can mix without a computer. I don't use sync. I mean, I know guys that use sync. 4Color Zach uses sync. He's a international, national, 4-time champion, DMC champion for Red Bull 3-style and shit. He uses sync. That's something that's talked about. Oh, use sync? I'm like, this dude uses sync. What are you talking about? He's a champion. So, I mean, it's to each their own, but I know what you're saying. Yeah. You walk in, I kind of took it a little deeper. But
no. And I mean, that was
you walk in and you see 2 turntables and a mixer, you're probably going to be like, damn, this guy's doing something. Because
you
just
walk
in and see a controller, you're going to go, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe you're just like, this guy's really good. I like what he plays.
Because, I mean, you honestly educated me because I didn't know the depths on the different, realms of DJing that they have. But, you dropped a lot of gems this episode, and like for the first time, like I'm silent because usually I'm asking questions trying to pick somebody's brain.
And I didn't even drink caffeine here. But I just rolled in.
This was like the first time I could sit back and just learn and hear somebody's story, hear your passion, hear your drive, learn a lot about your daughter and your family and how you grew up. Can you please tell the audience how they can get in contact with you though?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is just DJ Ashton Martin. Make sure you get that H in there. DJ Ashton Martin. You can go djashtonmartin.com or find me on IG, Twitter. All socials are the same. Yeah, that's it, man.
He's Ree Washington. I go by the name of Joshua Hicks. This wraps up another great episode of Opinionated, the podcast, season 2, Kansas City edition. Love.
Hey,
always.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother.
She said, why is it when I call that you always hit decline? Cause every time I pick up, it's the same thing every time. You ask me how I'm doing, and I tell you that I'm fine. Trying to match these demons that I sing about every night.